Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree if you are new here, and every month I am doing a monochromatic makeup look for a specific color. Last month I did pink, this month I'm doing red, so if you guys want to hang out and see a red eyeshadow look, then just keep on watching. Okay, so the main palette that I'm going to be using today has my absolute favorite reds, and it is actually the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. It has a lash stuck to the back and I thought that was a fucking spider. Literally just like this section right here is just to die for fucking reds. They are perfect. I do have out next to me the Anastasia Beverly Hills Volume 1 palette. Also kind of surprising considering it's definitely like interpreted more as a purple palette, but it does have really good reds in it as well, and I also need that white. So that's what we have. I'm just gonna dive into it and just do my makeup because I have things on my mind to vocalize with you guys, and then at the end I'll just kind of be like, yeah, this is the shades that I used. My cat has thrown up 3 times since I have pressed the fucking record button. All in here too, of course, because why not? She had to go for a grand finale 4th time in the living room. She's fine. We've had her literally investigated for everything. She just like eats too quickly and then like gets too excited and then just like, yeah, it's a whole thing. And then she'll turn around and she'll go and chew on some plastic to clean off her little teeth. As I was like setting up for filming this video, I had to like actually think long and hard about what video it was that I filmed, but I remembered. It was my monthly makeup basket for this month. Okay, just come in, it's fine. Yeah, it was my monthly makeup basket for this month. I filmed it last week. Exactly 1 week ago, actually. If you haven't seen that video, I'll have it linked up in the eye and down below for you guys. But I had to film that video rather quickly because I had to film before I had to go take my mom to the dentist. Because my dad had to work and I was off, and you know, she's still very recently post-op, so she can't really drive herself, and it was like an emergency dentist appointment, so I had to take her to the dentist. No big deal, right? I finish filming, I get over there, and have a little bit of breakfast, and then we head out, right? No big deal. In my mind, the way that day was gonna go is I was going to drop her off at the dentist, because I had no fucking reason to just sit there and wait for her. I was going to drop her off at the dentist. I was going to go run a couple errands that I needed to run that were in that area. Perfect. Delightful. Go get some cat food. Run to Costco. You know, good stuff like that. And then I was going to go pick her up. I was going to take her back home, drop her happy ass off, and then I was going to come back here, and my original plan was to film another video. By the time I was getting ready to, like, we were out on the road and, like, you know, I was out running my errands and shit, I was already kind of, like, floating the idea of, like, do I have to film a second video today? Like, I have a lot of other things that I need to do, like, errands to run, you know, things to do around the house, stuff like that, right? So I'd already kind of, like, mentally put in my back pocket the idea of filming a second video. I had all the stuff in here still set up, ready to go, in case I got home at a decent hour and I was like, you know what, I am going to film that other video. So I take her to the dentist and I go run my errands, and I get back to the dentist office like maybe 10 minutes before she's done. It was beautiful timing, really. She comes out, we go back to the house. Vital to the story, my parents live above where we all work. My boss was actually the one working at the time, and when he works, it's my days off, more often than not. There's maybe 1 day a week that he'll open and I'll close so that my husband has a day off, but usually I just work my husband days off. Before I left that day, last week, I was in the office and I was kind of like trying to figure out some stuff with my boss, you know, work stuff that is a lot easier to like handle when you're in person as opposed to trying to handle over text message or on the phone or whatever, you know. So he and I are, working on this stuff, and I'm down there for honestly probably about an hour. I should have clocked in, to be fucking honest with you. But I'm down there for probably about an hour, give or take. And my husband got to work right around the time that we got back from the dentist's office. So he's there. We're all there, obviously, except for my mom, who's living her best post-op life. So my boss leaves, and I get my little duckies in a row, get everything that I need together, say goodbye, and I am on my way. And my plan, I had since, during this time, because it took me so long to work on that stuff with my boss, I had since abandoned the idea of filming a second video that day. But, and again, if you've seen that video, you will know that I had talked about that day. My plan was to go to the piercing shop and go get my new piercing, the stud, replaced with the hoop, because I knew that the hoop would be less offensive to my nose holes. During the time that I decided that I was going to not be filming another video, I was like, why would I drive all the way home, go do stuff, and then turn around and go back out later in the day to, oh, my setting powder just shattered. Anyways, why would I go back out later in the day just to run to the piercing shop when I'm like already out, Like, why not just go get that done and then go home and not fucking leave again that day, So I say my goodbyes. I leave the house, get in my car, and I begin driving, as one does when you're in the car, Okay, well, I gotta trade this out for one that's not fucking shattered. And I had two options on my trek to the piercing shop. I could either get on the freeway and then get back off of the freeway in like 5 or 6 miles, or I could take the coast. It wasn't rush hour. It wasn't, it was the middle of the day. There was no traffic on the freeway like there usually is. And to be honest with you, the location of the piercing shop is a little weird. Like, you have to make a U-turn to get to it. So in my mind, I was like, why don't I just take the freeway and then get off one exit past it and then come back up this way, and then I don't have to make the fucking U-turn, right? I make my turns, merge onto the freeway, as one fucking does. This is such a dramatic retelling of it. I get on the freeway, and I promptly merge onto the freeway. Again, as one does, right? I'm not being wild here. I get onto the freeway. I get up to freeway speeds. Say it with me now, as one does. And then I haven't even I don't even make it to the next freeway exit. Mind you, I'm in the slow lane. Like, I'm cruising. I'm like, I don't really have anywhere to be like in an extreme rush or anything. Like, I'm going freeway speeds. I'm not going like under freeway speeds or anything like that. But I'm not like, ooh, gotta like get all the way over to the fast lane or anything like that. Like, I'm good, right? I am established in my lane. I have been established in my lane, but I'm in the slow lane. So I don't even make it to the next freeway exit, the next off-ramp, before a woman in a Prius in the lane next to mine decides she's gonna merge without motherfucking looking. Without fucking looking. Didn't blink, didn't fucking look, just fucking sent it. Bounced her happy fucking ass off the side of my fucking car on the fucking freeway going like 70 miles a fucking hour. I'm okay. Just so everybody knows, like, I'm good. I am being so incredibly dramatic about this. I need to like emphasize how minor of a fucking accident this actually was. I had a gallon bottle of water sitting on my passenger seat. It didn't even fall over. My phone did not leave my lap. Nothing shifted in my car at all. Like, nothing. So fine. So not a thing, right? But this bitch fucking bounced her car off of my car. Off of my fucking car. On the freeway. So we pull over, right? And she gets out. We both, pull over. We both get out. We both look at our own cars. And I walk over to her because she was a little farther up. So she was a little bit farther, like, how do I explain it? Her passenger side hit my driver's side. So being on the side of her car that had the damage was farther away from the freeway and the cars. So I went up to her. And she looks at me and she goes, well, it's not that bad. So, like, we don't need to. And I was like, no, we do. We do. You're going to give me your information. And she's like, but it's not that bad. And I was like, it's kind of bad on my car. Like, you're going to give me your information. So she goes out to her car, and I had already grabbed my insurance card because fucking common sense, and it was right there in my center console. It wasn't complicated for me to grab. Like, I just, I grabbed it. And she goes and sits back in her car, and she's, digging around for it or whatever. I'm sorry. Am I wrong that didn't we all get taught not to sit in cars that are pulled over? Like, on the side of the road, especially on the side of the freeway, because you never fucking know who's gonna come and, not be paying attention and slam into your car while you're parked on the side of the fucking freeway. We were obviously in the shoulder, but still, like, was I wrong in that? Like, were we not taught that? Anyways, I digress. A lovely city worker actually came and stopped behind us with his big truck to, apparently that's like his job, is to stop at accidents and people who are broken down on the sides of the freeway and, coordinate if they need coordination. But also, I think the majority of his job is quite literally to sit behind the cars so that if something does happen, his giant truck takes the hit, not the people. She comes and brings me her driver's license and her insurance information, and I'm just taking pictures of it with my phone because obviously I don't have fucking paper on me, and I'm not trying to like go, sit in my car and write shit down, and I just take pictures of it with my phone. And she takes mine and she goes back and she sits in the car to write it down again. I text my husband. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. He's calling me. I'm like, I can't hear you. All I hear is cars. But he could tell the difference in my voice between this time versus the last time I got into a car accident, where last time I was like fucking panicked, airbags blew, car was totaled, all that. The result of how we got this car that we fucking have now. My husband knows about it. Everyone knows about it at this point. I'm just waiting for this lady to, finish writing down my information so that I can fucking bounce, right? She gets out and I'm like, well, I need to get your phone number as well. So I texted it to my husband because that was the easiest solution. And then she's like, well, I want your phone number. And I was like, you hit me. Our insurances can handle that. I just need to give them your phone number as well so that you can, whatever. I was being a petty bitch, but she quite literally merged into me on the freeway without fucking looking at me. So, just saying. And it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock. It's not like it was fucking nighttime. It's not like it was dark out. Like, it was very much during the day. Like, she just flat out didn't look. Didn't even blink either. I was being kind of a petty bitch. I will admit that. But I was like, I don't need to give it to you. And then she was like, well, I'm pretty sure you hit my car. And I was like, based on the way that damage looks, I can promise you hit my car. I didn't leave my lane. You left your lane. So, just saying, But I was fucking pissed. I was so pissed. I had so much shit that I had planned to do that day. And it all just out the motherfucking window. Just out the fucking window, Because the city worker guy was like, it's a game of who calls first. And I was like, you bet your fucking sweet ass it's gonna be me. We were right at the freeway exit, like right just past it. And he was back far enough that I said to him, I was like, can you just like stay right there when I go to leave so I can back up and I can just get off the freeway exit? And he was like, absolutely perfect. So we do all of that. I am leaving. I just back up and I get off at the freeway exit and I drive straight back to my parents' house. Just straight fucking back. I had to call the insurance, and that took hours and hours and hours, because as I was dealing with my insurance company, and they were like, okay, well, we're going to have you get an estimate at this location, and then you're going to do this, and you're going to do that, and I called the place that was going to do the estimates and the repairs, and they were like, we really recommend you actually reach out to her insurance company, because they can front the cost immediately versus us having to pay for a deductible and then having to get reimbursed, and it would have been like a whole fucking thing. And so then I'm on the phone with her insurance company and I'm having to do the whole thing all over again. With that being said, because I was so like on it with how quickly I called, I ended up getting a call back probably, I don't know, maybe 2 hours after I did the initial statement from her insurance company saying, hey, just want to let you know we are accepting liability here on behalf of, the lady. And so we're going to be covering the costs. This is where you're going to go. This is where you're going to drop your car off at. They're going to pay, it's going to be paid for entirely. We're also going to put you in a rental car, which my insurance company, I don't pay for the option to have a rental car. I don't need it. My parents have cars. My husband has a car. Like, I technically did not need it, but also if someone else is going to pay for it. The same as I replaced the booster seat for my niece that was in the car, even though the airbags never blew, but like, if you guys are going to pay for it, I'll replace it. No problem. So the damage isn't bad. Let me find it. Yeah, it's not bad, like, at all. She just kind of slid the side of her car against mine. I did get a phone call from the repair place. It is about $5,000 worth of damage somehow. And it's gonna take like 2 fucking weeks to do. But that's my long-winded story. I'm gonna go do some part of my makeup. I'll be back. Okay, so since I talked for so long while doing my eyeshadow, I just went ahead and did like all of my base, well, most of my base. I did my powders and all that stuff. I used too yellow of a powder foundation though, I'm noticing. Let's see if I can fix that. Am I accomplishing anything? I don't think so. I accomplished nothing. Alright, well, it is what it is. I say as I grab another powder. Okay, so I'm gonna do my under eyes. I'm also realizing now that I just didn't tell you what shades I used on my lids. Well, I'm gonna use the same shades, so I'll just tell you now. How about that? So I'm gonna start out with a really teeny tiny little shader brush, and in the volume 1 palette, I'm gonna use E5. I'm just mimicking the halo on my lower lash line. Obviously, by the way, I did use the white in here as well. And then for red, I'm going to take a small shader brush. I'm going to go into Livin' My Best in the Jaclyn Hill palette, which is the other red that I used. And I'm just going to blend out E5. And then just to blend this out, I'm going to do the same thing that I did on my lids, which is I'm going to take my brow setting powder and my fluffy brush and just run it along the edges. Just for a little pop. Do something a little bit different. I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to go into this top shade up here. I'm in it, which is like a white with like a very subtle pinky reflect in it, which will complement. I'll do blush topper and highlight on camera with you guys. I'm going to use the Nabla Skin Glazing. This is actually a highlight in the shade Truth as my blush topper. I need to go to Target today, and there was something earlier that I thought of that I was like, I need to get that. I need to get it. And then it's gone. It's just fucking left the building. Really quick, I'm going to take my Physicians Formula Butter Glow powder and just add a little bit of glow back to my skin, especially since I put on so much fucking powder trying to correct the yellow, which didn't work, but whatever. And then for highlight, I'm going to use the About Face Light Lock powder in the shade This Bliss. Perfect. I'm going to go drown my face in setting spray to kind of melt down all this powder and finish up the rest of my face. I will be right back. Okay, so this is the final look. Did it turn out a little bit more pinky purple than red? Yes. Is it still red? Yes. So that's what we're going to go with. This video was kind of all over the place because I did most of my makeup off camera because I talked too much while doing my eyeshadow, but you know, that's that. And I just had to tell you guys about the fact that that lady ran into me on the freeway. So, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I love the way that this makeup look turned out. Comment down below and let me know your favorite color eyeshadow to wear. I would love to know. Please subscribe if you have not already. It would mean the world to me. Like this video, ring the bell, do all the things. I hope that you guys have an awesome, awesome day. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!